All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week one of season 6 of the Swain Batty League, which feels like we've been waiting an abnormally long time to finally have start. And I am so pumped to finally watch some team's entire season go to shit. Joined here tonight for this first game between the team drafted by Muffin and the team drafted by Sword and Mace, which are,
User joined your channel.
as of now, called Forces of Nature and WCF. And joined here by Thrifty Senpai for this first game tonight. Alice, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to be back. It's another great old season of BCL.
Yeah, this game, I'm very excited because these are the two teams I think most of us had the least idea of
User left
what
your
they were going to
channel.
do with their rosters. Obviously, looking at Forces of Nature on the left, we've got 30 and Tree that are going to combine to
Microphone
be a
muted.
bottom lane, and Blabour and Mikuro are going to combine to be the mid and the jungler. But I really expect to see a lot of different things from these guys over the course of the season.
Yeah, no, by far, this is like everyone had the least idea because as far as trees go, they have some big names that people are very consistent. But like you said, it's very odd. No one knows who everyone's going to go. Uh, and then for the other team, I mean, a lot of people have been really up in the air with that. Uh, Wang and Purple were junglers last time. Nobody knows about the Gurnig. So,
Yeah, and actually, WCF on the right was a team we weren't even sure who was going to start for.
correct.
Boozersgraph being their sixth player. My early predictions are that we're going to see the Gurnig in the mid lane, Purple in the top, Wang in the jungle, Albino Joe, and Garen Fracking Bolter in bot lane, who has still not changed his name back from Garen Fracking Bolter after last season's season-ending bet. So
It's a mark of shame he's bringing back from this PCL. He's out
I,
for vengeance.
yeah, just leaving that there is a grim reminder of that month of Garen he suffered through. So some pretty crazy bans coming out already. Wang's Evelyn taken away. I am not at all surprised by that. No one likes dealing with Eve. And actually, Master Yi being taken away from Forces of Nature. I haven't been watching these guys solo games too closely, but obviously New Devourer is pretty decent. Master Yi is pretty decent. And for all I know, Bloodborne's been playing Master Yi mid lane.
No, Micro's actually been playing it a lot jungle. That's been one of his most common jungle picks he's been playing lately.
Well, no one likes to see Master Yi in a competitive match, so thank you, Wang's CF.
Wang CF. Wang's Cockforce.
All right, and Wang's Cockforce taking away Wukong with the last pick of the draft, and an almost instant Shyvana lock-in for whoever the Forces of Nature jungle is going to be. And I like that pick a lot. Shyvana is really, really, really good in the jungle right now.
I'm pretty sure the jungler for that team is going to be Micro. And then Blab will be the mid lane, Says will be the top lane, and Thrifty 30. I mean, not Thrifty 30. Tree 30 for the bot lane.
Yeah, I'm expecting Tree to be the AD carry of those two.
Yes, definitely. That's what everybody's seen them practicing lately, unless they've had, like, the secret alt accounts, throwing everyone for the twist. You never know.
I would love to see a team do that sometime, although I doubt we ever will.
Yeah. I don't think the stakes in the Batty League are that high yet.
Maybe for you. Maybe for you, Alice.
For me.
So it looks like Wang's Cockforce is going to go with a Nunu and a Janna right away. Try to counterpick that Shyvana, play into a disengaged team. Not surprised to see that at all. Nunu is Wang's probably favorite jungler in the game as of the past 8 months.
At the very least, his most successful.
Yes, there is not a whole lot of skill to Nunu. You just need to put an ult in the right place. You can't make some of those game-losing mistakes on a bad engage like Wang loves to do on other characters. And I really like those picks because you need something to peel that Shyvana off of you.
And both those champions are very good at peeling Shyvana. Nunu because he has 2 different attack speed slows loaded into his kit, and Janna because she has the knock up and the knock away, which is Shyvana very easy to kite out after her ulti.
Microphone muted.
30 going with a Leona. Looks like who needs Peel when you can just hard engage? And I'm actually really disappointed to see the Tristana there. I would have loved to see, and guys, you're ready to hear this a lot this season. I would have loved to have seen Sivir come out of Forces of Nature right there.
But Swift, it's just a Sivir comp.
That's as easy as it gets. You have a Leona and a Shyvana. They both want to go fast. Go faster.
I feel like that's just a common theme of League of Legends. There's nobody who doesn't want to go faster.
Yeah, that's kind of why Sivir's the best champ in the game right now. I don't know anything about Chinese League of Legends, but I follow Kelsey Moser, and she tells me that all the time, and I believe it.
Alright, we get the Kog'Maw locked in for mid lane most likely. It could be a flex pick to AD
really
carry.
excited to see if that's a flex pick. I don't think Garen Cracking Walters played that at all, and and they're gonna leave it.
Alright, confirmed for mid lane then.
And that is going to be an insane high damage comp in late game.
Yes. As everyone I'm sure is very familiar, AP Kog'Maw, ever since the Ludens Echo introduced in a couple patches ago, has been a very, very powerful champion, and the new itemization has been even larger buff to him, making his gold power spikes much easier to manage.
I believe I saw the stats a few days ago that AP Kog'Maw between both LCS regions currently has a 75% win rate across 20 games.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's not even factoring in that he really just got buffed in the last patch with the AP changes. I like that. I'm a very big fan of that pick. And this is going to just be the classic battle of hard engage versus hard disengage. And we hope it'd be really exciting to watch.
It's going to come. I really like, though, that both these teams are drafting their comps. It seems like they're not very focused on trying to deny the other person. They've just both came in with their game plan, and that's what they want to do. It'll make for a very interesting game. I'm very curious to see how each team plays it out.
So closing this comp out, I will say one pick that scares the hell out of me is Zima's my main, formerly known as Slender Dan, I'm Just Dan, Victor Yi, Dan, and anything else with Dan in the name. There's a lot of responsibility of playing Gnar. You have to communicate a lot of things well with your team. You have to have good teleports. Dan is normally a guy who shines when he's not having that much responsibility on his shoulders. Normally just playing a lane bully, winning his lane, and snowballing. Which, I mean, Gnar can do. But when I think Gnar, I'm thinking way more about the team-based playmaking. So I am really excited to see if he's changed that perception because, if I remember correctly, he wasn't in the BCL last season. So 2 splits ago, he was on second place BCL bargain bid with me, and he was by far the best top player in the league that season. So I'm curious to see if maybe he's added a little bit of team play to his play style, because that would really make him very impressive in this league.
I would say he's made it very apparent that he has the mechanics. It's just has not transitioned to always playing meta picks. So.
And speaking of top laners, I'm really excited to watch. How can I have made it all the way to 15 seconds post-draft without mentioning Purple Pickle Pie? This guy definitely going to be the most important player on Wings Cockforce. Whether that's a good thing or not, we'll find out in the next 10 weeks. But for those of you that are new, in the last 2 seasons, Season 4 was his rookie season. He played AD carry. His team won the league. Season 5, he played jungle. His team won the league. And he was very impressive both of those seasons. And this season, he said he wanted to transition to the top. And he's playing a hard carry top laner, Hecarim.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he does.
There's a very good chance that this is going to be the premier top lane matchup for this league right here in Game 1.
You think so? What about Strip? I think Strip's another contender as
There's contenders. I mean, I don't think you can bet on any single one of them right now. Hopefully we'll see. It'll be pretty much impossible not to see more of our top laners than we saw in last splits. But both of these guys, compared to what we had last split, would have been insanely good in the top lane pool.
Yeah, no, top lane has traditionally always been a role that we have lacked mains of, or that the ones that we have mains of aren't as dominant as the mains of other positions throughout the BCL. Every other role has always had like their big player. I mean, support's always had 30 and Tree.
Yeah, there's always been 30 and Tree,
80
Master
carry.
Splitter,
There's been
Thrifty Senpai, AJS Zero, just have all been head and shoulders above their competition, with no one else coming close at any point during the history of this league. Top lane's never had that.
Maybe this could be the season that we have a new top lane star.
I think even if we don't necessarily have a top lane star, I do expect the level of play at top lane to be a lot higher this season.
Oh, by far, I think this is the most competitive top lane will be in any BCL or SBL that we've had.
So one pick I'm curious about your thoughts on, how do you feel the Hecarim fits into WCF's team comp? Because that feels a little out of place to me.
I definitely feel like it's out of place. It does provide them a nice bit of hard engage if they do manage to poke them down going in for dives. However, the rest of their team comp, they just have so little hard CC that I am not a fan of it. Hecarim's the only champion that brings any form of hard CC, and it's like a strictly almost engage. I mean, you can use it to peel, but it doesn't always function the best. I'm sure that because you're asking that, you have fairly similar points of view on that.
Yeah, the rest of that comp wants to kite and poke back, but not Hecarim. But I also don't feel like there's a major backline threat on the opposing team that they're going to be trying to dive. Tristana's super mobile. It's pretty hard to get to where her late game DPS isn't extraordinary. And I just feel like picking a dive champion to counter Orianna, like, what's the point of that? So
Yeah.
We'll see if that turns into a trend this season with Purple maybe not being able to fit team comps as well as he did at other roles.
Because there is value to having a hard engage on their team. Because, like you said, a lot of times you can get with the AP Kog'Maw and with the Jinx, you can get a lot of poke down. You can get people down. You can, force a dive. But these are not like people. Their backline is not people that exactly is going to be easy to dive, especially solo when they're poked.
I'm also really curious to see how the communication goes for WCF, if they're going to be, on point or not.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I have zero idea who their main shot caller is going to be.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is with having a dive champion like that with their kind of comp, you need to have a lot of communication about that, because if he goes in at the wrong time, when people are not ready, or when people cannot follow up all the way, all of a sudden he's going to die, they lose all their siege pressure, and they might even lose more off the return fight. Right, that's something that can very, very go poorly. And we're finally loaded in.
Hopefully our stream has all chat showing currently, and if he doesn't, he's about to turn that on. And of course, speaking of shot calling, teams that I do not expect to have weak shot calling, Forces of Nature on the left here. 30 is just so good, as we saw last season. And I definitely think this team could be even better than the one he was on last splits. So it looks like we're going to see a little bit of a level 1 coming out of Forces of Nature here. This is something pretty foreign to me. I've never really tried this before.
On the other hand, on WCF, we have the pretty classic football lineup, just to cover all the entrances into your jungle. So if the enemy team does come in, you know where they're coming in. It looks like we're just going to have a stalemate, though, and nothing actually is going to come from it.
And that's sad, but I'm not too surprised. Purple starting with the flask and no other item is going to go for a camp clear and then get a cloth armor. And you don't want to be late to that camp if you're going for that starts.
That's a very important thing. It is nice that he's going against a Gnar. Gnar doesn't have the most spectacular wave clear speed, so you can do that at a much more leisurely pace. You're not completely pressured to get in and clear it as fast as possible.
Alright, so ultimately going to be a pretty standard start here. Both junglers getting nice leeches from their AD carries on the strong side of the map. So we'll see if a fight breaks out early in the top lane or the mid lane when these junglers go through a full first clear. So is there anyone in particular you're going to be keeping your eye on most in this early game?
A lot of this early game, I want to be paying attention to top lane and mid lane overall. I'm very curious to see how the Gurnig plays because he's a completely new rookie. And I'm also going to be paying attention to Purple and Dan because Dan's playing a new champion top lane for him. And Purple is making his SBL debut in the top lane.
I can tell this is a week one, game one, because I'm really excited to watch everything right now. But
I am too.
I gotta go back to my bread and butter. I want to just watch bot lane. I want to go tell Zed to keep the camera on bot lane this whole game. Because
That's the Tree 30 lane. I'm excited
closing
for
out
it.
last season, we don't know how Tree's gonna do transitioning to AD carry, obviously. But closing out last season, these guys were voted number 1 and number 2 on the All-Star support list. If Tree can have any kind of transition, they should be a very good bot lane. On the other end, for WCF, Garen Fracking Bolter closed off the season on a bit of a hot streak, but he was still considered nowhere near the me, King, Salvo level. And Albino Joe has taken the last season off, and he's always been someone who didn't get a whole lot of respect from the players and casters in this league. And these guys have been duo queuing a ton even before the draft, and they've been telling me how they feel very confident playing with each other. And I think these two both have something big to prove here, and a very good chance to attempt to do so in the first week. And we do see Wang looking for the legendary Nunu gank top lane. He's walking in at that now, and he's going to snowball the hell out of him.
Disrespect snowball.
The gentleman is going to walk away.
Right off the bat, the only place that we can see is that Purple is already starting to show off like a pretty strong gold like CS lead.
And that's with
For
top
his-
lane pushing
yeah.
against him, too. Not necessarily a super effective gank, but Wang didn't need to have a super effective gank.
And the other thing we can look at is Mick clear speed, putting that Shyvana clear speed to work. While he hasn't had any gank pressure like the Nunu has, he has already had a recall and he's still got a couple of creeps.
Yeah, wow, he's already recalled, and he's up 200 gold on the Wang.
Yeah. I'm curious what he's going to probably do. He already picked the dagger, so it's obvious he's going to go into the Devourer. But I wonder if he's actually going to try to put map pressure on it, or if he's just going to try to power from
Pickle
as fast
Pie
as he can.
jumping against Azimus in top lane, and very close to Ignite range there.
Oh. Wang thought about cheesing the dragon.
I am almost surprised he didn't. If I know Wang for anything, it's bad Baron calls and cheese and dragon. And Purple is just really going hard to try and get this kill in the top lane. And a great knock on Zazimas. There's an Ignite going down, and Zazimas has to flash away, and this Ignite is going to almost tick him down. Meanwhile, My Wang getting caught out at Dragon, being chased 3v2. Wang is going to have to flash out. And we're going to see some nice flash trades across the map. Neither of the flashes should be super important at this stage of the game.
Yeah. It's interesting to see if we'll see Wang up top, though, trying to get pressure on the fact that Dan doesn't have a flash now. Because he's the only laner without a summoner spell now.
Yeah. Meanwhile, another set of good trades going down in the mid lane. Labour taking a nice little advantage over Garnig. But wow, that top lane CS is just really blowing up. Zazimas is going to be able to close this out a little bit. No, actually, Purple Pickle Pie is waiting to back. Sitting on 1120 gold currently. Maybe looking for a Triforce component on his first back.
Yeah, he could be wanting to get the Phage or the Sheen.
I'm definitely expecting a Triforce hacker out of Purple Pickle Pie. That just seems like the kind of player he's always been.
I totally agree with that. And also just combined with the whole fact that he's already got a very solid lead on his lane opponent. It's very safe to go into that. Just start trying to snowball your lane.
And actually going for the home guard ninja tabby, so what do I know?
Oh, that's a very Chinese player thing. The Chinese, especially in Hecarim, love rushing. Wayne's going for the dragon.
And Gurnig is going to miss a shot, Labour is going to miss a shockwave in the mid lane. And meanwhile, Garen, Frack, and Bolt are being engaged on bot lane. And Tree's actually jumping in. A ton of damage going on to Garen cracking Bolter here before an exhaust goes down on the Xmas Tree. Garen getting a little bit of damage on the return. And that actually ends up being a pretty even trade, mostly due to all the creep damage the Xmas Tree took there.
Yeah. It looks like Wang is... Oh, Wang might find a Leona. It's going to be very close.
Oh,
It's going to be very close.
Leona's going to try to blow up Wang, and Wang gets the fight and gets killed. First blood going to Forces of Nature onto 30. So, no assist gold at least, and it's on a supports. Maybe not the worst thing for this team. That's just really one of those trades that... Oh, Jesus. So aggressive on a 30, and Xmas Tree taking a lot of damage. She has to pop both AD carries pop heal, and now actually Garen fracking Bolter has to stop his chase. And both these AD carries going to walk out under 20% of their health.
I'm just waiting for Bolter to hit 6 and then try to shoot the rocket. You know he's thinking about it.
Yeah, he's about 20% of a level away currently. And I don't think Tree's accounting for that right now. But Shyvana is showing up for a gank, while Purple's going aggressive in the top lane. He's nothing but fighting in these side lanes. And Mirko actually going to get hit by the Chompers. And Garen has got to be so close to level 6. And he is. He's sticking around trying to get that level 6. And look for...
There it is. Go.
And we'll see.
Is the rocket coming?
He's level bits. And he is not shooting. And there it goes! There it goes! Zima on the top lane. Purple Pickle Pie ulting in. Zazimas is ignite. And Zazimas is going to barely survive the last tick of the ignite. Oh my. How much health did he have?
That was either 7 or 8 HP.
I'm going to check real fast. If you'd like to cast.
Yeah, sure thing.
Zazima's at 6 health.
6 health.
Wow.
It looks like they're setting up to get the blue buff onto Orianna. Give her to mash that in the Cogmile mid lane so they can continue to clear waves at the same pace. Actually, going back real quick, while we have this little bit of lie down, I was going to cover the reason why the home guard is really popular, especially with the Ninja Tabby, is because the Tabby is the cheapest upgrade for all the boots available. And the home guard is a very popular thing on Hecarim, 1, because it just lets him get back to lane so fast, and then 2, because with the teleport, it allows him to come in, he has all of that speed, and he gets the extra damage boost. It makes his teleport ganks at mid-game, like at this point of the game, earlier on the first dragon fight, second dragon fight, very, very potent.
Yeah, I wanted to go into that a little bit when Wang was taking the first dragon. I was surprised we didn't see Purple Pickle Pie stay in base and look for a teleport. And she's 30 just will not stop going forward in this lane. And now Albino Joe chunked down to about a third of his health. And these guys have clearly practiced playing the lane forgiven style.
Yeah, I mean, they have a very safe lane, especially to go push this far forward as with a new jungle.
Yep, I agree. And actually, Zazimas is going to flash, and he's going to ult Purple and not stun him up against the wall. And Purple's going to stop the fight for a moment before backing off. Meanwhile, both junglers are showing up. And are we going to see a little fight over this pink ward? Nope. Wang is going to give that ward up.
Now, with Purple this low, they will probably most likely lose the 2v2.
Yeah, I'm surprised we don't see Purple just content to roll his Elixir, not going to try to back and teleport in at all.
And
now 30 with a great gank on a Gurnik. There's a Shockwave going to get Gurnik very low, and Labour going to secure that kill with his Ignite. And a 2-0 kill lead for Forces of Nature in what has been a relatively low kill game so far.
I mean, it's only about 11 minutes in, so yeah, we haven't really seen any successful ganks or anything, so...
And now Albino Joe is getting caught out super deep in the enemy jungle. We're seeing Wang and Labour start heading, and Joe's going to have to flash the Dragon Pit to make it out of that one. Just very aggressively trying to clear that ward. And that's a tough summoner to be down. Actually, Xmas Tree taking a lot of damage here. But it's just going to get poked and run back to his tower.
Now that we're kind of farther into the laning phase, bot lane's actually very even. Joe and Brits have done Garen freaking Balter have done a very good job at maintaining the lane parity, despite the pressure that 30 and Tree have tried to put on them.
Yeah, and they have to be happy with that. A Jinx Janna lane isn't trying to win the laning phase.
Now we're getting Blab getting chased through the jungle here. He's gonna get out with only a little bit of damage on him. Nothing too scary.
We haven't talked about it at all, but the mid lane CS discrepancy actually widened up a bit after that first kill onto Gurnig went down.
Yeah, he's pulled about just about 2.5 wave difference. That's actually quite a good chunk of gold.
So Labour's sitting at about a 600 gold lead right now, while Purple Pickle Pie is sitting at about a 700 gold lead. And Mikuro actually about 600 gold lead up on my wing also. And Purple Pickle Pie gonna ult in, Ignite go down into Zimas, but I don't think he's gonna have this one. Oh no, he's barely gonna be able to get one last Q just outside of Zimas' tower range. And Purple Pickle Pie gonna really start to get this lane rolling.
I think if I could be wrong because I'm not sure exactly 100% on how close he was. I kind of missed it the last second, but I think if he didn't turn to get that last auto in, he probably would have been clear from the queue, and he would have made it out fine. But that's just something that's so difficult to try to even count for.
Well, Faker would have made it out.
Oh, Faker would have, of course.
So, Dan, when you watch this, and 30 flashing a solar flare, Gurnig getting blown up, and Mikuro going in, but 30 taking his second kill of the match, which should set this up for a good dragon fight. And Purple Pickle Pie, once again, using his home guard to run to the fight, not looking for a teleports. And actually, the fight breaking out, Mick gonna barely get touched. And we're not seeing much to force this out of Forces of Nature. They are letting Dan probably try to charge up a little bit of a Narvar. And they are starting this up. Gurnig just spawning now. This will be a 5v4. Yep, Dan is teleporting in. He does not have a Mega Nar. And Dan actually going to be a big cutoff from this team. He's going to have to jump out. And Purple going for a steal, but not going to get it. Purple Pickle Pie goes down. Now Wang just trying to zone off. I don't know why WCF is still. And a great shockwave of Impulsor. Albino Joe is down. Wang is low. Garen Fracky's Walter is low. And a transformation out of Zazima. He's going to secure a kill on the flank of this fight. Dragon taken 0 for 4. All in favor of Forces of Nature. And to top it all off, fuck you, we're taking blue.
That was beautiful on Forces of Nature's part. There was a great execution. They zoned them out of the Baron. WCF was very clearly split on decision. They had half the people out of the pit, half the people in the pit, and Forces of Nature's capitalized on that perfectly.
Here comes a home guard teleport, and the home guard interrupted immediately. And I just don't know. That was just awful shot calling out of WCF. What were they going to try to fight? 5v4. They had to know Dan was obviously had a teleport if he was going to top lane at that time.
And I mean, it wasn't even just the fact that they decided to fight it. It was they also were so split. They had 2 people in the back line there, and they had 2 people in the front in the Baron, like in the actual Dragon Pit almost.
Yeah, Purple did not seem on the same page as his team, and I don't think they should have fought that at all. It's just a first Dragon to give up, but they're going to throw over an extra 2k gold to go with it when all is said and done.
No. Now that they have the substantial gold lead, and a lot of it, they got 3 kills on Oriana on that fight. So, I mean, now she has 3 kills after the fight. So they have a lot of gold on a carry champion. It's going to be very curious to see how they start putting that gold lead to work.
Oh man, Labur just backed with 3240 gold. And oh man, turns that Chalice into an Athene's and picks up an endlessly large rod and picks up a ward. Oh, blooper.
That is a massive buy.
Picks up Sorcerer's Shoes and picks up a pink ward. I'm in love. And 30's going to use a zoning solar flare. I think he's going a little too deep. He's going to engage onto Albino Joe. And a great ult out of Exodus Street does not secure the kill from 30. And we're going to have to see WCF do something fast to slow this bleeding down, because they need to stall this game out for a while now. With a 3.5k deficit this early. Fortunately for them, no towers have gone down, so they can still maintain relatively easy warding. But Garen has to watch out for a tower dive here. He is not playing this intelligently, and 30 wanted to die, but he was checking for Wang first. Micro's a little too far off to pressure any real dive there. I apologize for that miscall and Garen's positioning badly. But we are going to maybe see a 3v3 break out in this bot lane. We'll see if these guys try to pressure the tower a little. Which obviously with Tristana, once you get to that tower, it's going to go down fast. And the first tower of the game being taken by Blabour and minions.
Unless they're going to open up a second tower right here.
This is going down very fast. Wang was hoping to save mid tower, but in the end, he's going to save neither.
Yeah, and that's just now that they have snowballed the lead and they've opened the map up, I'm curious to see what they do with their deep vision inside the enemy jungle. Catch them on rotation, start trying to force down more towers with their siege comp.
Yeah, this is starting to look like another team flashlight win already. 30's team gets a few kills, and then just starts taking objective after objective. And Purple's going to try to fight in this top lane. He ults Zemus. The Ignite goes down, but Zemus is going to trade kills before dying to the Ignite. And then on the other side of the map, Blabour getting a solo kill onto the Gurnig, who is not having a great debut after the early laning phase here against one of the guys I predicted to be one of the premier stars in this league this season, Blabour. And that gold lead now up to 5k in favor of Forces of Nature.
At the beginning of the lane, it started like Gurning was doing very well, but the second that like Blabour's got an advantage, he has pushed it all the way, and that's just he's grown it in form of kills and CS. So
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
If you were in WCS position right now, what would you be trying to do to turn this game around? It's only 19 minutes in. There's already a 5k gold lead. You're down towers. You're down kills.
Well, to be completely honest with you, I'd probably be sitting there in complete silence, then realizing, oh crap, I need to say something. My team's going to know I'm tilting. And then I wouldn't know what to say. And then I'd be watching as Albino Joe gets caught out completely. And 30 going all the way on 3-man solar.
Oh.
And there go the ult! Blabour melts WCF. And this is going to be the third and final outer tower going down.
3 kills for the third tower. This game is just, with a flip of a button, this just became an extremely one-sided game.
They have to find a way to wave clear and just hold these towers, ward up their jungle, not get picked. But they don't have enough wave clear as a team. And now Gurnig is going to have to watch out. And Purple's going to pop a kind of bad teleport here. It looks like it actually is going to be enough to save his tower. But Zemus is splitting pressure in the bot lane. Look at this team. They're just like any of 30's other teams. They are always pressuring the entire map. They're moving as a unit and just destroying towers.
Looks like you're going to go rotate on to Dragon. You might be able to get a fight here.
WCF shouldn't even be approaching this fight.
No, I don't think so. But I think they're going to go for the desperation call, and they're going to try to fight for it.
But you don't make desperation comebacks with Dragon.
No, you don't. What I would like to see,
Dragon too.
here is actually have like one person try to like act like if they clean out the dragon, clean out the enemy's vision around the dragon pit, so they don't have know where they are, and then try to sneak a Baron here when they try to go for a dragon.
I think it might be a little too early for that.
No, I think it is too.
I think they should try it, but I don't think Wing will be thinking that right now.
Oh no, I mean that's like it's an extreme desperation thing, but when you're down 8k at 20 minutes, there is you got to think desperate to get back into the game. WCS vision, their vision's all on the wrong side of the map right now. They have 3 wards scattered across, 4 wards, including the Baron one, across their top jungle. They only have 2 on the bot, whereas Forces of Nature have this entire area lit up as they secure the second dragon of the game for themselves.
So I got to go back to Purple Pickle Pie for a bit here, because he was the only bright spot for WCF. And he had such a gigantic lead in top lane. And he just never was able to use that home guard to make any plays. And I can't help but wonder if he'd maybe gone with a different item. He could have made some kind of a play. And Jesus, that combo onto Garen.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite possible. I mean, I'm not gonna. There's the Trinity Force you were talking about. I think, like, the home guards is a very, very powerful pickup, and it's a very useful pickup. But you have to have a lot of communication with your team, and you have to use that advantage. And
which he never
mean,
did.
we
And
haven't
there's a
seen that.
solar flare on the Gurdig, and Micro's actually going all the way in. Wang's ult not going to do much. Another awesome shockwave hits the entire backline. And actually, Xmas Tree taking a lot of tower damage there, and Garen Kraken's Bolter is going to pick up his first reset of the game here. But 30 turning on to Garen, trying to save his team, and Blabur picked up another traded kill, 2 for 2.
Well, Blabber's circling around,
And
but they know he's
Blab
there.
is not done. He's going for Gurdig, and Gurdig's going to late flash, and now Wang is going to try to chase. Blabur can fight you, man. What are you hoping to do? Ignite onto my Wang, auto attack onto my Wang, and Wang is going to barely survive thanks to the turret and Janna shields. And jeez, that Shyvana is just... That Shyvana Orianna can engage at anything.
Oh, especially when you're this far ahead, it's just so big. All you need to do is have, if the only lands a solar flare, all of a sudden the Shyvana just goes in, the Orianna goes in, and they just pile on in.
Yeah, anyone inside the solar flare range isn't safe right now. Even under a tower.
No, I think honestly what Janet needs to be picking up is Janet needs to be picking up a Quicksilver Sash at this point. Because if Janet gets CC'd, they're done. They don't have any way to disengage from a fight or anything. She dies, like, her team gets blown out so fast.
One thing I will give WCF a little credit for, they do have 4 upgraded trinkets on their team right now, which is actually 1 more than Forces of Nature. 2 of them are upgraded yellow trinkets, which I think are insanely valuable when you're behind like they are.
Oh yeah. Upgraded yellow trinket is fantastic. You actually get more wards down than the red trinket, unless they keep consistently getting 2 swords per their red trinket proc. It will keep up paced wards.
And this gold lead hasn't gotten bigger than 8k in the last 3 or 4 minutes.
No, but while the goalie hasn't gotten bigger, it's still a solid 8k goal lead. But they have stemmed the bleeding a bit. They've gotten a couple more kills on the board.
And I really like this 1-3-1 that Forces of Nature is doing right now. And actually, no, Dan's going to go for a teleport. He does currently have Narvar, and he's going to immediately knock my Wang out of the Nunu channel. They're going to easily finish off that turret and then back off. And Xmas Tree's going to probably have to back, so I don't think this siege can continue anywhere. And you got Mikro, Blabur both backing off in bot lane.
I agree that I really, really enjoy this 1-3-1 push. I mean, the 3 people that they have sitting in mid are all so strong right now. The Orianna and the Leona combo can just blow people up. And both Gnar and Shyvana, the only person that can realistically 1v1 them is Purple Pickle Pie. And, well, he's only one person. He can only be in one of those 2 lanes at a time.
Yep. Completely agree. You know, 1-3-1 is a great way to ensure that you light the entire map up with wards. Because when you're 1-3-1ing, you have to.
Yes. Yeah. Need a lot of vision to maintain a 1-3-1, but they have the vision down. And looks like they're going to try to pick up the outer tower on bot lane, just kind of work their way in.
Yeah, no one's too far from here. The only real worry Blabur is at about 40% health right now. He's going to need to play pretty far back. But if Purple Pickle Pie is in the top lane, they might try to force a teleport out of him or just trade an inner for an hour. Be happy with any of those scenarios.
User joined your channel.
And just how fast that Jinx blows things up.
User left your channel.
We got a minute till Dragon, and they actually gave up on this siege. Weren't quite confident enough to force themselves down the front door of WCF's base. And that's actually going to make Purple Pickle Pie's pressure pay off.
I'm thinking also part of it is that they want to make sure that they come back and they are full health and bought items for Dragon. I think they're placing just a little more value on that 3rd Dragon than the possibility of getting that the turret.
Yep, it does look that way. Zima is going to show up in time to stop Purple Pickle Pie, but Purple currently has teleports, Zimas doesn't. And
This could be
Dan
a point.
is just about to show in top lane. This is a good chance for WCF to run at that dragon, and they need to be doing it right now. But they're actually pressuring bot lane tower instead. They still will have numbers of it, but actually, no, Gurnig is nowhere near this fight. Do they not have a dragon timer from the last dragon? I don't remember.
It's quite possible
But
they didn't.
Gurnig is about to show in the mid lane just in time for Mikro and Leona to come in. And Mikro's going to flash while he's going to stop Albino Joe's recall, putting down a ton of damage before he gets baited by the Flame Choppers. Labour is going to solo Albino Joe on the back end of this fight, hitting godlike. Garrett going for an execute, the best he could hope for, and I'm not even sure if he'll get... And 30's going to flash for the kill.
Meanwhile, they got them chasing though. I mean, they did pick up 2 kills, but they traded a tower for that. They might get mid here as well.
Yeah, they are going to get this midnight tower.
Oh, they might pay for it actually.
Xmas Tree shows up just in time. They defend the tower and get the kill. And now it's Azima's chasing down Purple Pickle Pie. Once again, does not get a stun from the Gnar ults. And he's just being obnoxious on the back end while Mikuro takes out the dragon. 3-1 on dragons, 8k gold lead. And they finally get that tower they were working on a few minutes ago. And oh! Garen Cracky Bolter destroyed underneath his own tower. Although Purple Pickle Pie gonna flick up a return. First kill on a Blabour. Now Mikro's going down. He gets healed, but Xmas Tree putting down a ton of DPS. He's jumping in, looking for resets. He's gonna get his first reset. A double kill for Zazimas, who shows up at just the right time. And a 1 for 3 with some good tower pressure coming out of Forces of Nature. And the first Baron ping coming out of Forces of Nature. And if they secure this Baron, I do not think WCF has a way back into this game.
No, I think that is definitely a way to tie it up. They have a solid 10k gold right now. If they take the Baron, that's another 2,000 gold about. They get all the stat boost. That gives them the siege potential to break into an area.
And Purple actually charging down Zazimas, but he has a Gnar transform that should give him the stats to save his life. So while we have a break in the fighting real quick, gonna look at lane by lane gold breakdown. So Purple Pickle Pie, despite how bad his team is doing, is still up about 450 gold. However, Mikuro is up 4,000 gold on my wing. Labour is up 3,500 gold on the Gurnig. Xmas Tree is only up 700. And 30 is up 2,100. And that, folks, is what a 10k gold lead looks like.
Yeah, no, Mikro is actually... I've been very impressed by Mikro. He's just... Wang picked the Nunu, and he's just had nearly any of the impact that Shyvana has on the map. Shyvana's farmed better, she's had better gank presence, she's had more successful ganks. I mean, some of that is because the team is ahead, but, I mean, Nunu just was behind from the get-go, which is something that really should be happening on a Nunu.
And now Labour gonna zone my Wang straight into the Baron pit. Wang knows he's Nunu. He's going for the Desperation Seal. Action Tree's gonna ult, but Wang can still make it in. A stun onto Wang. Wang looking for it, and Wang is not gonna get it. Xmas Tree secures the Baron 1 for 1 immediately at the start of this fight. But Mikro and 30 gonna try to clean this up. Picking up a second kill, picking up a third kill. But Garrett Fracky both are picking up kills on the backside of this fight. He's gonna get 2 kills. And this is somehow going to be a 3 for 3 when all is said and done.
That was all sorts of a mess. I'm not even sure where to start with all of that. But they did secure the Baron, and they still have it on 2 members. So
Shyvana being one of them.
Which is so they can put Baron realistically in 2 lanes with their split push. Which is still key.
Ultimately, all those wards in the opposing red side are going to pay off for Forces of Nature here. And let's see if they go for a split push or a 5-man siege, which both of are going to be so scary with this comp. Tristana is going to be able to destroy an entire tower in the span of 1E. But at the same time, no one's going to be able to 1v1 Mikuro. It looks like they're going to just opt for the easy play all down mid lane, which I like. I think there's less coordination involved in that. it should have just as high of a chance of success.
Yeah, I would like to see them rotate. They have a good-sized wave of minions. They have a cannon creep up there, and they have another wave crashing in, so they'll have a nice wave and a half. They can build up, they can get the last outer tower. I want to see them do that, and then siege into the top. I think that'd be really good to see. But they're not going to wait for the minions. They're just going to take this tower right away.
That's just their vision paying off. Vision and confidence. And we might see the last fight of the game right here. Zima's slowly building up that Gnar bar. This is about the perfect place for him to start a siege. But just a little bit of poke back and forth so far. And I really want to see these tanks once Gnar transforms. No, actually, Gnar starting to split push, then taking some tower damage. I wanted to see Mikuro and Zimas just stand in front of that tower and dare Purple Picklefy to engage while Xmas blows a tower up. And 30's threatening a dive himself now. But just a lot of back and forth. They're very slowly whittling away at both of these towers.
Yep, they have about 1,000 damage, 1,500 to go on this mid tower. They're losing minions, but they'll just keep going.
They are going to lose potentially bot lane tower to that gigantic wave that WCF has built out.
Yeah, that wave will take the tower if no one goes to deal with it. And it looks like they're going to back off. They don't want to lose the tower.
And that was just a really disappointing Baron. I feel like they had chances to take that base, and they didn't take them.
They played too scared. I think if they would have played a bit more aggressive, I think they definitely could have taken another tower. But they did get some decent damage on it, so they can come up, and if they get back to it soon, they can try to finish it up.
So Zima's currently no teleports, so he is ignoring the rest of this wave, running towards Dragon. And it looks like they are going for an engage here, but a great solar flare out of 30 going to slow this entire team down. And now Mikro going super deep, and the Wombo combo coming out of the Orianna. Purple Picklefy is going to kill Blabur, but everyone else is dying. 1 for 3 so far, as Xmas turns to finish off the Dragon.
That is 4th Dragon. That is the wave clear one. They didn't have problems clearing waves before, and they certainly don't now.
And are we finally going to see an inhibitor tower go down?
It'll be close. Cog and Jinx are coming up in just over 5 seconds. But they will get a whole wave uncontested before those 2 carries get there.
And Purple's going to try to do what he can. He's putting a lot of pressure on the tree. Tree's going to have to jump out. And this tower is going to be destroyed by Zimas, who is now transforming. A disengaged solar flare comes out and forces Nature to be able to just walk out of this.
That's huge. Now that they don't have a tower, as we've seen, that Force of Nature can just absolutely destroy WCF on an open field without having to worry about the tower dive. Even then, with the towers, they still have won the fights pretty handily. So this makes them open to get an inhib and then just continue their just very, very precise, tactical, just like destroying this base. They're just going down in an order. They go through all the hours, they go for the inners, just working their way in.
So while we have a little pause in the action, actually, we're going to force the heal out of Garen Fracking Bolter, trying to save his support's life. And a 2v5 occurs in this jungle that Blabur and 30 are going to walk out ahead on. So, I'm curious, how do you feel about the Frozen Mallet into Bork build on Gnar?
I am not a fan of going Frozen. I'm a fan of the Frozen Mallet, but I don't like going Frozen Mallet straight into Bork.
I agree with that. And I think that's a big part of why this team hasn't been able to dive anything. And geez, Blabur, so much damage over the wall. First inhibitor is finally going down, and Zimas is riding this huge wave in the bottom.
If he didn't build that Bork, he could have had the parts. He could have had at least the parts of a Spirit Visage and a completed Randuin, so he could be so incredibly tanky.
And we'll see if a Desperation fight happens. But Solar Flare, Garen being completely zoned out of this fight. Now Zima's going very deep. But these tanks are very far from their damage. But Mikuro doesn't give a fuck. That is a kill onto Garen. and a turnaround in this base. And all of 30's team is going to actually abandon that bot lane tower. And now they're finally turning on this next wave to go back onto it. And the Purple Picklebot gets caught. A lot of damage going down. Wang's going to try to slow this down, but Gurne gets destroyed inside of the base. And Extra Tree is finally focusing down this tower. This is going to be a second inhibitor tower and a second inhibitor. All 10 seconds before Baron spawns.
I think the plan from here is just disengage, go get the Baron, and push the win from here. WCF's going to need some sort of a miracle to pull this game out. Force of Nature has a solid 33% more gold, 15k gold lead now at 38 minutes. Very strong performance for their first night of the SBL.
So if I'm on WCF right now, I'm not even sure I'm talking about how we get back in this game at this point.
No,
I think you're just talking about going forward in the next week. You know, figuring out what everyone's willing to practice.
No, yeah, you have to hope for a miracle at this point. You need guys freaking Balter to go full Wild Turtle, just all of a sudden just start dropping pentas and quadra kills left and right over siege. But if that doesn't happen, and I don't see it happening, the game will be over.
And yep, Baron being started up by Forces of Nature here. Labour gonna almost kill Albino Joe on this back line. And he's gonna maybe take Garen frag. No, actually, Baboor's gonna have to flash before remembering he's a big motherfucker, and he turns a double kill. Meanwhile, Baron secured by Mikuro. Wang not able to steal again. Mikuro chasing down the lesser jungler. Mikuro going godlike. And this game. So, assuming we're about to see a closeout happen right here, I want to start talking about MVP on this game.
All right.
This is pretty tough, but I have to, in my opinion, this one goes to 30.
It's not even. I will agree. Blue has played phenomenally. 30 though is the MVP of this game. He has the highest kill participation. He started it all. He got the solo kill on Wang at Dragon. He then goes, he gets pressure on mid, he starts blab snowballing. He's just been everywhere on the map making all the big initiations.
Yep.
He played out of his mind.
His